So you shoot and edit your photos. Do you like both processes, the shooting and the editing? Because I know some people don't like editing.
To some extent, I don't particularly like going all the way to Photoshop. But I do like taking what I've got, the digital images, and enhancing them, because dynamic range and increasing contrast or saturation or some special effect that I want to do. Very few of my images have I actually gone into Photoshop and done something dramatic to them. Some of that I did.
What other software do you use other than Photoshop for?
Lightroom. I use primarily Lightroom because it'll do most of my, I do 95% of my actual editing within Lightroom, which is essentially, Lightroom's primary purpose is a catalog program. So
what does that mean?
That means it creates a database of where they are. So if I want to go in, it's a type of software called a DAM. Okay, it's DAM software, Digital Asset Manager, DAM. Okay. It's a category of software that all right. So this music that's on Mike's shelf here, all these CDs.
Okay. We have a shelf full of CDs.
All right. You would want to, if you wanted to keep track of all of that music in a database. You know what a database is, of course.
Right.
So that's what a DAM is. It's a database essentially. Okay. So you create a catalog of your music, or your catalog of your digital assets. Digital assets being music or images or videos or PDFs or Word documents or whatever digital assets you have, you can catalog them in a digital asset manager. Lightroom is just very specialized specifically for images, primarily photographs. But
are you able to, I guess, sort them? So I guess maybe with each picture, so you go shoot scenery at the mountains.
Yeah.
You can then label all those pictures as like landscapes, and then you can
tag
sort them. You can tag them by the date and the
tag them by date, where they were taken, category, color scheme, people that are in them.
That's cool.
So just to give you an example, what you can do with something like Lightroom, and it's not the only one. It's one of a number of programs that'll do that, but Lightroom is the one I've chosen. It's an Adobe product. So for Stephen's party, all I had to do, I've got literally thousands. I've got probably over 10,000 images in my catalog, scattered all over my hard drives. Okay, well they're all in one place.
Never mind.
Okay, no.
Wow, that is a lot.
Total, I've got thousands of images. Okay, and probably several hundred, probably 400 or 500 that have Stephen in them in some way. Okay, that have been tagged with he's in them. Well, if you tried to pull, so within Lightroom, you just go in and say, give me every picture that has Stephen in it, and you put that in a collection, and then within that collection, I can then go in and say, okay, which ones are 3-star, 4-star, because I don't really want to. I don't want to show the 1-star or 2-star. I just want to see the 3-star, 4-star images that have Stephen in them, and I can. It's a filter. Basically, it's a filter.
Okay.
And so I can create a collection, and then that collection I can then upload to SmugMug, which is my photography website, grafton.photos, which you've seen.
Yeah, and it's really cool, and I think it's cool that you basically have a portfolio set up online, and people that like those photos can then just get a blown up picture and put it on their wall, which is really
so they could go in and so I can easily so Lightroom, one of the things I like about Lightroom is it's got a really nice plug-in for SmugMug. So I don't have to manage the stuff on SmugMug. All I have to do is manage these collections within Lightroom, and just say publish these to SmugMug in its own gallery. Wow. So I could create a gallery just for Stephen's birthday party.
That's amazing.
I did one for Amber's birthday party.
In my head, because I did see that the gallery of Stephen's birthday, and in my head I was like, oh, I guess he just had to go sort and find all of these. But it
took a fraction of a second once I built the query. I just said go in and say, it's just like any database query. You just say I want every picture that has Stephen in it. So now that requires when you...
Does it do face recognition?
It does. It does. So that was the first thing I did, is make sure that all my face recognition because that's a new feature in Lightroom that was added about 2 or 3 years ago. Okay. So some of the stuff I added many years ago didn't have that tagged. So, and I may have missed some, but the way to make Lightroom work is when you ingest them, when you import those images into Lightroom, a lot of the effort is tagging them. So, and when I do a shoot, so my most recent shoot was Barb and I went to Hard Labor Creek State Park in Georgia on January 1st, the first day hike. I think I posted those on Facebook. So when I get back from a shoot, I will bring all the images into Lightroom, and then I'll tag them with location data.
About how many images do you usually have that you're
depends on the shoot. That one was probably 50? 30.
30.
That was a light shooting day for me.
Okay.
Costa Rica. Like so 200? Costa Rica was a week, and I have 5,000 images. I've only gone through the first 1,500.
In Costa Rica, I know you told me this off camera, but Costa Rica, you went just to shoot.
Just to shoot wildlife.
It makes sense that you would have 5,000.
Yeah, I mean, every day, when you're paying, you know, it was an expensive trip, but we're also paying for the professional photographer to be there and also the other guides. So we want to maximize our time photographing. And so we went with a professional photographer with professional guides. So we knew where all the monkeys were, and we knew where all the stuff was.
That's cool.
And they could spot the sloths in the tree. And anyway, so I took every day. I took about 1,000 pictures.
That's amazing.
And so then you have the process, which is very time consuming, especially when it's that many. You know, the Hard Labor Creek shoot was 30, 50 pictures. I could do that in 45 minutes. But you still have to get them off your camera. Put them on your computer, bring them into Lightroom, catalog. Basically, you import them into the catalog, because Lightroom doesn't know they're there until you import them into the catalog. And then once it imports them, then it knows where they are on your hard drives. It doesn't dictate where they go. I dictate where they go. It just knows that they're on the D drive in this folder, you know, whatever. And then I tag them. There's this process of, you know, so I'm pretty anal about the tagging. I put GPS coordinates on them, so I know exactly where they were taken. So if you go to SmugMug and you say, where was this picture, it's actually in the info screen. It'll have GPS coordinates on almost every.
And all of that from SmugMug is just pulled from your tagging
pulled from the tagging in Lightroom.
That is so cool.
So people or animals, I do species, genus, species. I've been doing that more recently. So if I know the genus species, I'll put that in there. So that's taggable. The common name, you know, scarlet macaw or whatever.
It's really cool.
And you can do things like you can say if I wanted to, I could say dominant colors. So if I'm doing a project and I want pictures that have, you know, orange is the dominant color, you could tag them that way. So there are a lot of things you can do because it's a database, and you're just basically creating queries or filters to say, show me every picture that I have in my entire 10,000 plus, you know, library of butterflies, and then that's several hundred, and then of those, which are the best? The ones that I've said are, you know, 3-star or above.
That's really neat.
Or so, which ones are the swallowtail?
This is,
you know,
it's
which
so
one
cool
is the, you know, this genus, or which one? You know, show me all the herons. I can go in and pull up just the herons if I want. Or I can pull up just seagulls, or if I can pull up just raptors.
This is so funny we're having this conversation right now, because I literally just came home from my mom's, and I hadn't imported a whole lot of pictures like that in a while. So what I just did at my mom's, she had a camera, she took pictures of the first pickleball tournament that I hosted, and then, you know, other events like that I wanted pictures from. Well, I got all the pictures from her camera, but it's like, you know, 1,000 pictures.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is cool to have, but every time I'm going to want to look for something, it's going to take me an hour to find them. And now, like,
you see it as your asset manager.
Yeah, I need to figure out Lightroom.
And Lightroom is just one of many tools that does that. I've tried several others because I don't like what I don't like about Lightroom is the subscription model. I hate it.
Yeah. Have you ever used GIMP?
GIMP is not a cataloging program. It's an image editor only, and I have used GIMP.
What's a good free?
Well, there's one called Darktable, which you should look at. It's really not geared primarily toward Windows. It's really geared more toward Linux, but they have a Windows installation. I just started exploring that recently, but it's open source. There are a number of other cataloging programs that aren't free, but they don't require subscription. They're just perpetual license. I also own a subscription, I own a license for another DAM called iMatch. So if you just want cataloging and you don't want to pay the subscription for an Adobe product, you can look at iMatch. And there's a number of other ones too.
Is iMatch means it's for iMac or not?
No, it's actually a Windows program.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's Windows, and it's not for so I don't know what your hardware is.
I use Windows mostly.
So if it's Windows, iMatch is Windows only. That's just the name of it. It's iMatch. The name of the company is PhoTools. But in any case, if you have a cataloging program for your images, then it makes it orders of magnitude more easier to find what you're looking for.
I'm definitely going to look into this because I'm starting to get to that point where I'm getting
you just get too much,
many photos.
Where are they? I know I took these pictures in. I seem to remember taking some pictures in Gainesville of those trains. Where are they? Was that 2015 or what? Because I have mine sorted by year. Well, if you forget what year you took them in, then that's no help. But in Lightroom or whatever the DAM, it just doesn't have to be that one. You just say, show me all the pictures taken in Gainesville, Georgia, or Gainesville, Florida, or Waco, or Lorena. I could easily go in. It'd take me a minute, and I could pull up every photograph I've taken in Lorena, Texas.
You've convinced me.
Anyway, so that's
yeah, I definitely.
So there's
want
a
to
process.
Start, tagging my photos.
So kind of back to square one. Photography is back to your original question. I love shooting, but I also enjoy the process. It's called a workflow. You have and you develop a consistent workflow after your shoot, so that certain things happen and you don't get it out of order. You got to get the images off your card onto your computer so that they're backed up. Got to make sure they're backed up. Got to rename them, or if you do, I always rename mine. Have a pattern that I use. You have to store them in a certain order. You have to bring them into the catalog, and then there's a process called culling. So if you take, so you bring 100 images in, out of which only a dozen or so are worth really sharing. And so you have to go through and decide which one are keepers, usually a star system or a flag system or whatever system.
I basically used a similar system to that when I imported pictures from my phone. My phone was getting too full memory, and it was time that I needed to put the phone pictures on my computer. And as I did that, I ended up making a separate folder, like these are keeper photos, and these are photos that I will probably get rid of or do something with later.
Well, the nice thing about the DAM is that you don't have to move them. You can keep all of them in their shoot folder. So you have a shoot, so like Hard Labor Creek, it's a good example, it's the most recent one. There might be 100 pictures in there that I took. Of the 100, there might only be, I think I posted probably 15 or 20, okay? The rest of them, they're still there. I didn't move them anywhere, but the only ones that actually got published to SmugMug, or the ones that within Lightroom or in a keeper catalog, are the ones that are 3-star or 4-star or whatever. So you don't have to move them around, because now everything gets fragmented. You just it's all done within your catalog program. And you create all these collections, so every good, digital asset manager allows you to create collections by certain filters or criteria. That's by really star, cool. By pick flag, by who's in it, who's not in it, all, and you can get as anything you can do in a database you can do with a digital asset manager.
I'm glad I learned that today.
Yeah, so